All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather. You probably noticed things look a little different. This is kind of what I'm trying out right now. And I know that for a long time I was really proud to be one of the few, weather streaming sources that was doing the whole thing, in front of the green screen. And as fun as that is, some of these live streams, especially over the spring, have been pretty long, and I'm finding myself more and more fatigued. And that, in addition to having to control everything up there, I just found that I wasn't able to bring um, the kind of coverage that I want to provide you because I was really having to stretch myself and push myself to do things that ultimately were not comfortable by any means, and were not giving me much of a break. I'll say that, and allowing me the versatility and the energy and the capability to really control things on the stream and really do this job well. And so if I'm sitting here at the desk, I have much more control. I have, three screens instead of two to work with. And, it's easier to see everything, and the mouse up there, the portable mouse barely works that distance away. And so it was not the product that I could bring to you, that I wanted to bring. So I apologize if this is harder for anyone to see or understand or follow. But the goal ultimately is to allow myself to do more of what you want, which is showing you the radar, giving you quick updates and quick information, and not stretching myself to the point where I'm trying to make it look the way I want it to, but at the cost of the overall product. And so that's kind of why I chose to kind of update this and do this a little differently. And again, I know that I probably look like just everybody else out there. Nothing else changes. It just, this looks a little different. And but overall, I think it's going to be a better product for you, and allow for you to, get a better overall stream of information, right? So I'm not trying to be, Ryan Hall or Max Velocity or one of these guys. I'm just doing what I think works best for bringing you the information that you need quickly, and being able to control what goes on with this stream a little better, and allowing myself a little more. Allowing myself to have a little more endurance, a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Man, I am blanking on a word. A little more stamina. There we go. A little more stamina doing this, to the point where I'm not so worn out between standing up there for 3 hours and trying to do the technical things from a distance. It's just, I'm sacrificing the product overall to try to make it the way I want it to be, and that's not the way things should go. So, with all of that in mind, it's about to get cold. It's about to get very, very cold tonight, and I want to kind of go through some of that. And there's been a lot of questions about snow, and questions about dripping faucets, and questions about these kind of things. In fact, I was going to look something up, and just a discussion, and an opportunity to. This is an opportunity for me to kind of test this in real time, but also to talk about the weather as it's going, and so here we go. So. And also, I do have to let you know that the Weather Cat is here. He demanded to be in the studio for this. Right now, he is half asleep on the desk. Actually, he's trying to take my hand away from the mouse to pet him. but we got work to do. So we'll get the weather cat involved here in a minute. We are in the 20s across our area: 26 in Waxahachie, 29 in Corsicana, 24 in Hillsborough for our cool spot, and 27 in Cleburne, 27 Burleson. So we're pretty cold, and it's probably hard to see it's kind of hard to see the temperatures there, and I hate that that's the case. There we go. There's the cursor. I hate that that's the case, but Radar Omega makes it that way, and that's the way that goes. And so we're all above freezing. We're going to continue to cool off, and I mean, I think that most of us are going to be in the upper teens, so 17, 18, 19 degrees, and our wind chills overnight. Now, there is the cold air advisory that is in place, and that will lead to, well, let me say this. If you read the text of it, it says wind chills of -5, all the way down to -5 degrees, 5 below zero, are possible. Not here. So that's going to be probably closer to the Red River. As far as our area, I mean, I'm talking, we could have some wind chills in the double digits, but we're really looking at, when I say double digits, we're talking, 8, 9, 10 degrees. So 7, 8, 9 degrees in terms of your wind chill. The air temperature, 16, 17, 18. So we could have a 10 degree differential between your air temperature and your wind chill. Now, those will not be consistent. I think that that's going to be more in the vein of, when you have kind of those wind breezes coming in, but they have to tell you the worst possible scenario, right? So you're prepared for that. So we definitely want to drip the faucets. Now, there's been a question and an interesting conversation I've been following on a couple of the posts about, what time to start dripping? Do we drip hot and cold, or what? And so I've seen some chatter, and I've seen some people that learned some things from the big freeze in February of 2021, just a few short years ago. And so I went to Google and just kind of looked to see what some of the different conversations were and some of the different posts. And I've seen different answers. I've seen some as far as drip hot or drip cold. Now, there's also the fact that if your faucets are interior, right, so if they're not on an exterior wall, they're not close to the outside, then you probably don't have to drip those, because they're basically going to be house temperature, right, air temperature in your home. Room temperature, I guess, is what I'm looking for. But, those faucets that are on outside walls, you do want to try to drip those when you can. And, of course, when you have your those outdoor spigots, those outdoor faucets, you want to have those covered with those little, styrofoam things. And, yes, it is actually confirmed that a Whataburger cup will work. Ideally, if you can have some of that kind of flexible foam, some of that soft foam on the outside to kind of help conform to the wall, but any styrofoam covering will work to kind of help insulate that and kind of reduce the amount of. You guys got to see this cat. He is a mess. So yeah, I mean that's kind of okay. You know what? Here, I can get away with this, right? I don't know if that's gonna work. Nope. I can't make it stretch that far. But this cat is just really chilling out. I mean, he is just having a good old time, not doing a thing. So, yeah, Saddle Tramp in the comments, already at 22 degrees. Yeah, over in, I think you're in the Ennis area, correct? Or eastern Ellis County, if I remember right. I may be getting you mixed up with somebody else, so I apologize. But overnight, temperatures will be very cold. And I said dangerously cold. My cousin chimed in and said that she's in Green Bay right now, and it's in the single digits air temperature, not even wind chill, air temperature. Wind chill is in the negative, and she said that's dangerous. And both are true. Here in Texas, I mean, you can have health issues with those wind chills, in the single digits here. So now it's not anywhere darn near close to how cold it is in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I will definitely concede that. They can keep it. But yes, you can definitely still have some health issues with that. So we've got a reporting of 26 degrees in Ennis, 23 there between Maypearl and Milford. So, but there's the thing too, your rural and your low-lying areas, because when you have a low-lying area, the cold air, it settles in that spot. And so that's kind of what you see there. And those areas could very well get colder than, the forecasted air temperatures. In fact, I'm fairly close myself to a creek here. And so I'm kind of in a slope, kind of a lower area. And so, yeah, I mean, you're going to find that we will get those colder temperatures. And so that may be one of those places where you get a little colder than maybe what's forecasted or what's expected. So you have to keep that in mind too. Now, as far as the chances for snow. So I'm going to queue up a couple of things here. Let's go through a couple of models just here on Radar Omega before we go into the other stuff. So here's, I don't know if, well, we got a little bit of it. We'll see. We'll see if we can get the 0Z. So this is the 7 o'clock model run. And you can see here how the moisture, let me zoom out a little bit more. You can see this is 10 o'clock on Monday night, 10 o'clock Monday night. And you can see that the vast majority of the moisture is down on the coast. And that's been the trend of these models. They've been pushing it way down there, way down on the coast. But, I mean, you can see closer to home that it does have maybe a little, and this is not exact. Remember, of course, that this is always relative, and it's always a general guess. But it does put some moisture up here, up north. I don't think that's accurate. I think that this is these models, when it comes to the modality of the precipitation, so modality meaning what kind of precipitation you're getting. When it comes to that kind of stuff, it's just a big generalization. This would all very likely be snow at this point, because we're going to be so cold that we won't be getting above freezing or anywhere close to it, probably closer to noon or so on Tuesday morning. So, I don't see that being any kind of mix. That's what that pink usually means, like a freezing rain, sleet kind of thing. But it would be snow at this point. And again, we have very dry air, and that's, for the one, dry air filtering in is most of what's pushed that chance of precipitation south. There's a low chance we could get, I'm going to call it about a 20% chance of some snow at this point. I'm going to downgrade that from the 30% chance we had. So we're at about a 20% chance of a few flurries, a few light snow showers here and there. I don't think really there's enough for anything to stick or accumulate or anything, but we could get some. There's an outside chance we could get a little bit, but the vast majority of it will be down on the coast. So it will probably be snowing on the beaches in South Texas. And if we look at the NAM model, and it's going to take a little while for that 7 o'clock run to come in, but even if we look at the 1 o'clock model from earlier today, it's the same thing. I mean, it's pushing everything south. And again, I mean, there's an outside chance that maybe we get some of it in our area. This is really pushing the farthest north is like Killeen, maybe Waco. So barely even throwing anything our way. So, I don't know how much we can really depend on the NAM so much as being specific with things. But I do think that overall we will probably have a better chance of seeing some, um, seeing snow when you go much farther south. Now, if we go over to pivotal weather here for the models. The let's see, I know we've got somebody asking about the ensemble. If you're talking about the European ensemble, here's what we've got. So this is a 12Z run. So this is, oh, I'm not logged in. Log me in. I was logged in earlier. Don't know why I'm not now. Okay, so so let's take a look here. Take that off of there. Get that a little bigger. Okay, there we go. And let's look at, well, let's look at the precipitation with modalities here. If it doesn't have it. Okay, so then we'll just show total snowfall. All right, so here let's get to, see all of Texas, get the loop going. Sorry, folks, I got to kind of get this going here. But so the European ensemble shows a dusting at best for our area. Again, all down on the coast. The models are pretty consistent at this point, that it's going to be just all down here. So that's the European ensemble. If you want to look at the National Weather Service's ensemble, I mean, it's the same thing. In fact, it's even farther south. So yeah, I mean, and again, a dusting at best for our area. So at this point, they're all in agreement, right? I mean, this is the kind of model consensus you look for and you want in this kind of thing. That's not, we don't want, we want total. So yeah, I mean, the GFS model, even if you wanted to go that route, I mean, just nothing, nothing north of Waco, right? Nothing north of Palestine. And if we want to go Euro just by itself, again, same thing, a dusting at best, all of it on the coast. I mean, this is very, very, very much a lot more model consistency and consensus than we had during our last storm. The last storm, they just kept bouncing around and kept going crazy. And that's one of the reasons that there were so many closures. And I know that, again, hindsight is 2020, and everybody loves to Monday morning quarterback the schools. And it gets so frustrating because, you're not part of that whole process. And you don't have the safety of all the students and staff and faculty at your feet during that whole situation. So it's really easy to judge, and it's really easy to try to make assumptions and things. But overall, folks, I mean, it's not that easy a deal to make. But we had so much uncertainty last time. And it was because that freezing line, we had a lot more moisture farther north, for one. And that freezing line was going to be right there near us. And I mean, if you remember, we had that freezing line where it came in and it inched. Well, actually, it raced across Johnson County, and then it got to about Alvarado and Venus, and it just stopped. And, had that kept moving on, which was one of the possibilities, then it could have been a very, very different situation. We also had ice as a big part of the calculus then. We don't now. Ice they don't really care that much about snow. I mean, unless it's so much snow that it's debilitating, ice is what causes concern with closing schools because it's on the roads. You can drive on snow largely, depending on how much you get, right? But snow doesn't impede traffic the way that ice does specifically. So that's the deal. That's the deal, and that's why this is so different. And I've had people telling me, oh, well, they're going to see that school is canceled, or they're going to see that there's snow in the forecast, so they're immediately going to cancel school. No, they're not. That's not how it works. I know it's easy to make those assumptions, and it's easy to try to just make assumptions about those people and make assumptions about how these things work because of an oversimplified perspective on these things. But that's not the way it goes. That's just not the way it works. And I think that we all need to trust the administrators, trust these folks that know what they're doing to do the job. Um, so, that's just my 2 cents on that. But overall, well, yeah. So Daddy Salad on YouTube. I love how these. It's on YouTube. I don't see your name. I just see your username. School is closed tomorrow, anyways, for MLK Day. Yes, it is. But all the snow will be late Monday to Tuesday. So if we were talking about cancellations, it would probably be Tuesday morning. But again, not a problem here. Charles, is that storm to the northwest? No. So that accumulating snow to the northwest up in the Panhandle. No, that's not going to be coming here or anything. That's not an indication of anything. In fact, this is our last chance of rain until what, next week? I think. At least. I mean, even that. I don't think I ever put rain in the forecast for next week because it was kind of a teetering deal, and it ended up not really verifying there. So, yeah, not really expecting anything in terms of the, any other chances of precipitation. And I mean, we're warming up by the weekend. We're in the 60s for next weekend, or technically now this coming weekend. So, this is not going to be a February 2021 situation. This is not going to be a situation where, we have mass power outages and all these kind of things. Now, we shouldn't see any equipment failures because there's not ice on the lines or anything like that. But I'd be remiss if I said that there couldn't be equipment failures. There can be, but if your power goes out, it is much, much more likely to be an equipment failure instead of the whole grid going out, right? I mean, this is, if it was ERCOT, most of the state would be having issues. But it's not, this is not rolling blackouts. If your power goes out, it is an equipment failure. And I'm not saying that can't happen, but it's less likely when we don't have freezing precipitation and all those kind of factors in this. So losing power really shouldn't be an issue overall with this storm. So it's going to get very cold. You need to bring in the pets. It's the 5 Ps. Most people say 4 Ps, but I've always heard 5. So if you know people that are in a home that isn't well isolated, or maybe somebody that may not have a home, and you can take care of them, definitely do that. I've seen a lot of reports of, in fact, I need to check that. A lot of reports of the warming centers, and I know I shared some information about warming centers in Corsicana. And let's see if anybody posted on that. No, nobody commented, but we did share some information about warming centers in the Corsicana area. So you definitely have that. It's Corsicana Freedom Life Church has been sharing some information there. It's just Corsicana Freedom Life on Facebook. If you want to go check that out, some warming centers there. I haven't seen anything really else necessarily about those warming centers, but if you have information, definitely get that out there, and we'll be happy to share it. But there will be, accommodations out there in some of these communities for those folks that are getting into very, very cold conditions. And so people, your pipes, like we said, if they're on an exterior wall, you want to drip those, and okay, yeah, you want to drip those faucets if they're on an exterior wall. If they're inside, most of mine are inside. They're inside an exterior wall, and so they're not really getting the impact there. You should be okay. I mean, it's not going to hurt to drip them if you're not sure. If in doubt, drip the faucets. You want to make sure that again, you're covering those outdoor spigots and that kind of thing. Wrap those pipes if you need extra protection on exterior pipes, that kind of thing. Wrap those. Also, if you're, and Bahama Plumbing shared this too, but if you're on an exterior wall and you have those pipes, you want to open the cabinet doors so that they can get that warmer air in there and not just have cooler air collect. Again, if they're on an exterior wall, that's a possibility sometimes. So if you open them up, that room temperature air, that warm air from your home is going to kind of help insulate those instead of the cabinet being closed and it cooling down in there, which is a thing that really happens. It's a real deal. So people pipes pets. The old saying, if they're cold, if you're cold, they're cold. You want to bring the pets in. I know that that yappy dog is going to be annoying, all this kind of stuff. But I mean, this is bad cold, folks. So bring them in and that sort of thing. Make sure they're taken care of. So people, pipes, pets, plants, of course. Cover those sensitive plants. If you can bring them in, bring them in. Take care of those sensitive plants, those plants that'll be affected by that cold air. And then the fifth P, which just not a lot of people talk about, is pools. If you have a pool, you got to prepare those, right? You got to do certain things to get those ready, or else that filtration system can be damaged. So do that as well. So that's the 5 Ps of winter weather precipitate or winter weather preparation. I've said the word precipitation so much recently, but if you're just joining in, I know this looks a little different, but we're trying a different setup here that will allow me more control over the stream, but also not wear me out while I'm trying to do all the things that I do on these streams. So, just overall a more ergonomic and a more efficient, setup here. So that's the situation we have tonight, and very, very cold air. It will stick around. We will have temperatures. Tuesday night will be back around 20 degrees, probably some upper teens there. Wednesday night, we're not quite as cold, mid-20s, upper 20s Thursday night. And then by Friday night, we're actually staying above freezing from there on out. So Friday night looks like temperatures in the mid to upper 30s, mid 40s Saturday night, and we're in the 60s over the weekend. So we're kind of bottoming out over the next couple of days. Monday, Tuesday, tonight into Monday, and Tuesday into Wednesday, the coldest temperatures we're going to have, and then we start rebounding. We start warming up again. Now, that's not to say we can't get very cold again. As we get into February. We've had plenty of cold Februaries, one in particular that we remember well, but overall, I do think that, we'll be in pretty good shape after just a couple of nights of very, very cold weather. Thankfully, it's only a couple. Things will be warming up. You'll still have pretty cold nights, but not like this, right? So by Friday, upper 50s, sunny day, partly sunny, and then Monday, we're warming up, but we're mostly cloudy. So we're going to have to see kind of how we go into the Sunday event, the Sunday temperatures, and see if next week maybe we get some rain in here. I'm not calling anything yet, but we'll take a look at that, and we'll continue monitoring that throughout the week. But that's kind of where we're at. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw those in the chat here. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our wonderful sponsors, because folks, if it wasn't for these sponsors, if it wasn't for these folks that are advertising, I would have to charge somebody. I would have to charge for this product. And weather is something that it kind of becomes a full-time job very quickly in order to really do it consistently and do it right, because weather happens whenever it wants to. And there's no way that I could do this if it wasn't, largely funded, not only by your support through, the Venmo and the Cash App and stuff, but through the sponsors that support us. So Jimmy Ward's Real Estate, of course, he's been there from the start. Synergy Roofing, KTX 3PL, of course, that's KTX warehousing and shipping and that kind of thing. They've done a couple of name changes. So Methodist Midlothian Medical Center, who's actually also kind of, saved my life on an occasion and treated my wife very well too, and she's had some medical issues. Andrea Walton State Farm, I personally saved a lot of money by switching to her. Rail Yard Park in Waxahachie, they throw great events. Heritage Air Service, great folks to lean on, because here in Texas, we take our central AC and heating very seriously, like tonight and in the middle of the summer. So they're great to have on hand. Bahama Plumbing, they've saved me several times too. Saved me and some family members from some complex issues. They were able to actually fix my dishwasher issue much easier than anybody else was going to, and much cheaper than anybody else was going to. So Liberty Tree Service, I've personally seen them do some very great work in my backyard that was really helpful. Hope Health, Dallas County, I work part-time with them, but they also take care of my kids and absolutely love them. Cool Hand Electric, Luke and his team, man, they are very, very knowledgeable. You won't have a better team than him taking care of the electricity in your home. American Tornado Master Severe Weather Shelters. We don't talk about that much right now, but this is the time to get them before the spring, because who knows what the spring is going to look like. It's been a pretty active winter that could transition over into an active spring. Worth collecting. I'm there like once or twice a week in Waxahachie getting Pokemon cards. My son's a big Pokemon card fan, but they have a lot of sports stuff too. I've been kind of checking that out and finding some stuff I like there too, but they are wonderful. And then one of our newest sponsors here, All About Dogs Full Service Grooming. We know that the grooming for the pets is very, very important in the cold weather, and so they can help you with that, help keep the animals warm in the winter and cool in the summer, and managing that coat is so important for that, and they're prepared to help you with that. And then I can't not mention Star City Tactical and Uniform. They've made the branded jackets that I've worn, the t-shirts, the South Metro Weather t-shirts. I think mine is in the laundry right now, so I don't have it with me, but they make the t-shirts, and they actually put South Metro Weather branding and different designs. Like there's one for the Weather Cat. There's one for, it says like, is that Thunder? Is Kevin live? You know, that kind of thing. They'll put it on there's a taco shirt of all things. They'll put it on a shirt or a hoodie for you, and it's good quality stuff. So I can't not mention them as well. But all of these sponsors, all of these people make it possible for me to bring this service to you. So please support them and show them some love. And, again, you guys support me through the Cash App and the Venmo stuff, and then the sponsors keep me going as well. The sponsors really are the ones that make it possible for this to be a full-time gig and for me to give this, to give this my all and to put my full-time dedication into this. And I couldn't be your reliable local source for severe weather coverage without them. I mean, there's no way. If this was not a full-time job, and I don't want to have to charge you for this, right? So it's free to you because these sponsors make it possible. And in questionable, economic times, they've made it possible for me to feed my family. So very, very thankful to them. Jocelyn, doesn't look like snow's going to happen. What you see on your screen, that is the European model, but that's pretty consistent. This is pretty much the same picture with all of them. I think from Waco north, between Waco and I-20, it's some flurries with a dusting at best. I mean, there may be some isolated places that get more than that, but it's going to be isolated. It's really, really going to be isolated. I think it's going to be very underwhelming, unfortunately. But we'll get through it. We'll do what we do, and we'll just have to kind of see how that eventually goes. So again, thank you so much for tuning in, and again, I hope that you like. Here we go. All right, he's here for his cameo. Is the Weather Cat. So Weather Cat fans rejoice, he is here. But if you're excited about snow, I apologize. It's the models are in insane agreement at this point. I hope you enjoy the new layout here. Again, I know that it's different, and I know that different is frustrating sometimes, but again, this allows me a lot more flexibility, a lot more control, and a lot more stamina to keep going. I mean, some of these live streams, we're pushing 3-4 hours sometimes. And, standing up, trying to control everything over at the green screen, just not easy. I mean, it's I'm wearing myself out physically and mentally. That's the microphone. It's not food. I'm wearing myself out physically and mentally, and you guys don't deserve that. You guys deserve a better product than that. So me sitting here doing this kind of a layout is going to allow me to bring you the best possible product. So, any Hoosiers, that's the stream for tonight. And the Weather Cat, I'm sure, wants more of my attention, as evidenced by the fact that he just walked up and jumped up in my lap and is ready for me to stop working because he never works and he doesn't understand why I do. He thinks that my full-time job should be giving him pets and scratches. Yes, I said that, and you know it's true. Don't try to lie. Don't look at me like that. So thank you all so much. Any questions that you have, feel free to send those in. If you get snow and it's the timing on this is late Monday, early Tuesday, and it's going to be just too much drier here, unfortunately. But if you get any kind of snow or anything, send those pictures in. I love to see those. And we might do one more of these tomorrow night, depending on how things go. But we'll see. But either way, thank you so much for supporting South Metro Weather, and more updates are to come.